Will Keone Pearson become a two-time 212 Division Olympia champion? I would wager to say yes. I don't even think it is a question. I think absolutely he came in a lot better. And Sean Clarita, well, with all due respect, he just didn't quite hit his mark. I do not think so. We are undoubtedly, guys, we are looking at a two-time 212 Division Olympia champion. So I think the better question is, did Keone Pearson improve? I thought for sure. When I seen this guy walk out, I thought absolutely. But there is nothing quite like a good old-fashioned Marks Max muscle comparison between last year's Olympia showing Keone Pearson and this year's, and look, have a look, guys. He is a substantial bit larger, I would wager to say. I think that is his lats jetting out a whole lot more. I think his arms are bigger. Triceps, perhaps. Biceps, I would suggest for sure. His wheels looked pretty good last year, didn't they? I think so. I think there's a type of conditioning. You look very close. I think he is thinner skinner, but the front shots a little more difficult to tell who is actually, or which version of this man is actually more conditioned. But yes, I think it's obvious that he is a whole lot bigger, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. I love Keone Pearson. He's awesome, and I would like to go shake his hand. But if I'm going to just ignore this and be disingenuous with you fellers, well, I think that's just as bad, or even worse, because you guys supported me here. So having said that, I gotta pad this insult. His midsection looks like a little bit of a bump in the center of his midsection this year that he didn't really have last year. There, I said it. That's just my opinion. And then you go to the front lat spread, and right away, I'm going to mention the midsection. Because in this pose right here, this one has a far better midsection this year. And it actually looks like his midsection is a little bit, not bloated, but you know what I'm saying. It's a little bit bigger. And it wasn't just a bad picture. I watched the video footage too, and in certain shots, his midsection, he has definitely practiced up on holding that vacuum in this front lat spread. I mean, it's a substantial bit better, I think, this shot. And when you really do look at the legs this time, I think his quad sweeps, things of that nature, might be a little bit better this year. So overall, aside from I guess the midsection's better in this shot here. I think 2024, this year, the best Keone Pearson we've ever seen. So far, so good. Turn to the side. This is an interesting situation, and this was an interesting choice by Juan Keone Pearson. Very interesting indeed. He elected to pose on the opposite side. And his chest, it's not as thick, but it's bigger displayed. The display's longer. You can see more of his pec. It's just not as thick, so he probably chose the thicker pec before. But look how big his far pec is now, which is his thicker pec. Anyway, his arm last year looked soft in comparison. Now see if Derek Lunsford does this. That'll be a sweet treat indeed. His midsection is better, but guys, and his legs are better, but lads and lattices, everybody in between, it's a different side. I think his obliques themselves look better on this side, and his legs look better on this side. So it could be a situation where, is it a more separation in the legs, or is it just that lag itself? The right leg, or the right leg. Yeah, see? Oh, okay. Here's the side tricep. Same side, same level. Better. He leveled up in terms of the quad separation, hanging hamstring. Look at that. Now the midsection does look a little bit protruded, and I noticed during the video footage. And it's difficult for me to say that, guys, because this dude is a real nice feller, and I don't want to insult him. But we're going all gaga over the big muscles, and oh yeah, he's so perfect. But when we mention a bad thing sometimes, They don't take too kindly of it. And the work and the dieting that they put into these versions of themselves, I understand it. I understand it. So if Keone Pearson were to tell me off, hey, I probably deserve it. But you guys deserve the truth. You guys deserve the truth. Turn around. Now this is where things get a little bit serious. Is this even the same man? Keone Pearson, what did you do? What have you done? Look at the lower half. I mean, this guy looks like Nick Walker's lower half. You could fly a jet airplane between those adductors there last year. Look at that. Look at that. Space all the way to the top. And you couldn't even wedge a wet weasel through those quads or those adductors this year. Incredible. And his glutes are a little tighter too. Now the back, he's posing at a totally different posture. Sizing was an issue too, because he's holding his legs a lot different, so I didn't really know how to size him. I don't know. Hard to say. I liked the display last year, but this year shows more detail of the back. He's got some lat insertions there. That's for darn sure. Wow. It is mind-boggling. Mind-blowing. Here's the rear double. And this is the same situation. Keone, what did you do? What did you do? Extra heavy squats? Extra reps for squats? Some sort of new machine? I think perhaps they are finally perfected surgically implanting hanging hamstrings on these guys, because you don't just grow like this in 1 year, do you? Obviously, guys, being a little bit remiss, he definitely trained to get those hamstrings bowed out like he did. But the display of the shot, he's working on that as well. It all has to be taken into consideration. And yes, his back does look good last year, but I think the separation is better. It's more meaty. It's just, I can't get over those glutes and hanging hamstrings. That's Nick Walker, and his calves are even better. I think his calves are even better. Wow. Bravo. Whatever you did, Keone, do that again. Do that again. And the abs and thigh, this kind of displays the midsection, maybe not quite as tight as it were last year. I get some comments sometimes. Why do you talk so weird? Yeah, well, I mean, some people like it. And I think more people like the oddness than annoys them. It's like, you guys remember Roseanne? How annoying she was? But a lot of people didn't mind that. You get past it, I guess. But anyway. The lats are bigger this year. And you can see that in this shot. And one other thing. I love you, Keone. But there's definitely a Fig Newton this year. But there's been a lot of Olympia champions with Fig Newtons. Couple of little Fig Newtons. I'm sorry. Then the most muscular, I think, is the most telling of all the shots on how much size he has put on. Does anybody know how much he weighed last year? Anybody know? Looks like he's a couple of pounds bigger. You guys gotta understand. Those who do understand, that competed or know bodybuilding, they understand that a couple of pounds shows up on these ripped physiques. So how much weight did he put on? His chest? Look at his chest. You can see a little Fig Newton peeking out there too. Arm separation a whole lot more. Quads, things of that nature. Belly looks like it's something coming out of there too. Do I think if I whisper it, he's not going to hear it? Maybe. But with all due respect, Keone Pearson, this is the best version that we've ever seen. I mean, the midsection could have been an issue last year. Is it a little bit more of an issue this year? I have to be honest with you guys. Like I said, that's disrespectful to you guys to not mention it. You guys are going to mention it in the comments below anyway. So, midsection a little off. Everything else, 110% improved. And those back shots, I'll never get over that. Never. Have a great one, guys.